Welcome to Flat Earth Philosophy. Everything's Flat Earth here. Talking physics today, cold fusion in particular. So let's delve straight into it. Who thinks the sun's hot? Oh, most of you. Oh well, give yourself an uppercut. Sun's not hot. We don't get hotter. The higher we go, the closer to the sun you get. You don't get hotter. No. Earth is about magnetism, magnetic fields, the atoms, electrons, protons, what they're doing in the magnetic field. The electrons are the magnetic field, basically, the flux, but the heart of the matter is the proton. It's all to do with helium, hydrogen, water. All comes from water. So, sun's not hot. Who believes the fiery ball and its fiery flares that NASA gives you? That big fiery orangey red ball with that big fiery flares off it. Who believes that? Most of you. Oh, give yourself another uppercut. Ooh. No, that's complete bullshit. Who believes that there's a Van Allen belt is of megawatty temperatures? They'll burn you up if you left. Oh, most of you. Boom! Give yourself another uppercut. It's all bullshit. You've all been fooled. It's cold as shit up there. No, shit's warm. Cold as hell. No, it's fiery too. Okay, it's cold as ice up there. Colder than ice. Ever heard of dry ice? What about magnets in dry ice? Which field is stronger on a magnet? The dry ice magnet or a warm hot magnet? A bloody cold magnet. Not a hot magnet. You get them really hot, they don't work. So if we had a flippin' fiery Van Allen belt running around the earth, we'd have no flippin' magnetic field. It wouldn't flow. It's flippin' freezing up there for the magnetic field to flow from the Arctics. That's why we have ice at the Arctics, because the centre Arctic is the vortex, the magnetic field, the hyperboloid, the centre of the ring magnet, where all the energy comes from, and it flows to the tropics, and it comes from the other end, the Antarctic, and flows to the tropics. Science will tell you they flow between the poles. They don't tell you there's a pole here and here as well. They don't fly all the way to the pole. These poles, north to south, they fly to here. The warm zone. Cold always seeks warm. Warm always seeks cold. Always the counter forces. Comes here and gets drawn down to the earth. It's getting drawn down to the earth because the warm tropics is coming up. This is what creates the friction, keeps the field moving, hot and cold, or electrons and protons. So, realise that. There's no Van Allen belt. We just can't get out because of pressure. And as in the tropics here, you've got a low pressure. Because what's happening is, it's basically, you like this, think of it as frequency, like this, higher pressure to low pressure. This is the gradients, the pressure gradients in this zone here. Maybe happening out here, but what I'm concerned about is what I'm talking about is in the tropics here, the tropical zone. Because this low pressure zone attracts the high pressure zones. And the cold water that comes from the Arctic that flows under the ground, subterranean, is very cold water. So that cold water is going to be not necessarily attractive. We need to put sort of temperatures aside and just work on atoms. You know, it's to do with these pressure gradients. This low pressure zone in here. Okay, and these molecules, the helium atoms, are attracted to the lower pressure, the lower medium, the pressure zone, because you could probably consider that cold water, this flipping cold water, is attracted to this warm, low pressure zone. Basically, it's warm because it's low pressure, and this is how to explain that. I haven't got that on top of my mind. So you've got to realise we're dealing with atoms, and everything's atomic, and this is exploded image. So you're getting the hydrogen atoms created here, because you've got the electrons all down the side here, and the proton in the middle here, along with the nucleus. And it's a separation. It's all the action, the friction, and all the work's going on here. That's why it's warm. So it's to do with water, the magnetic field, atoms, and it's all quantum mechanics stuff. So, knowing this flat Earth design, well, I know it, then we're led to understanding cold fusion. This is what this video is supposed to be about, cold fusion. So what I've learnt is, first we start off with pure hydrogenated water, very, very pure water. It's been recycled via the sun, that's why it's very pure and hydrogenated. I call it hydrogenated. Flowing through the earth from the tropics, flowing through here. And it's getting... They get drawn up in here. So maybe you can consider those as high pressure, seeking the low pressure. A little bit low here, but it gets a lot lower as you come up. Everything starts dispersing, falling apart. That's why we can't leave Earth. We start falling apart. We have to keep pressurized. See? And when these atoms, hydrogen molecules or atoms come up, they start falling apart, getting ripped to pieces, just like we would. Okay? It's not through heat, it's a vacuum. So, and we know this is a strong magnetic vortex back here, well, I do. So it's to do with magnetism, so we need a strong magnetic vortex spinning water. And ice, frozen, very cold magnets, the atoms move very slowly, and that's what you can picture in here, is a slow moving atoms, the stars, because these stars are in here. That's what it's all about, water, and it all goes back to nothing. Just imagine you're looking at an atom here, or atoms, and they're swirling around in a vortex. And the image in there is shone up into the night sky where you see all your stars. So you've got a strong magnetic field here vortexing this water. And down inside the centre is hollow. It's a core. That's what you call the black hole. It's nothing going on in there. It's at rest. All the action's around the horizon here of the vortex, okay? So we got the vortexed water, but it's got to be created in a vacuum, a gradient, by gradients, as you go up. So the vacuum's up here, the main vacuum, so it's getting drawn into it. So we get to there, then what? So, when you watch my last video, you know what happens. The atoms get up to here, they get smashed, ripped apart, which allows the they're getting ripped apart because they're getting to a state of emptiness, like there's a lot of space. Imagine a lot of space around the atom, protons. You know, there's all the space in between, you know. And that's the nucleus, that's the neutral. And I need a computer brain to explain all this stuff. And this state of rest in here is where all the weaker force and the strong force electrons are merging to find equilibrium. So they're boosting this neutral zone. So at the end of the day, what's happening is you've got your big neutral zone and you've got your sun right there. And it's all, the sun gets projected across the hole like this, over to where we see it over here, in the tropics. But this is back in here. So, thanks to this vacuum and the strong magnetic field, it's ripping the atoms to pieces. And it's allowing them, and this is allowing the protons to merge to create helium. And the helium feeds the sun, creates the sun. So you've got to realise, I'm all over the place here, I know. You've got to realise the black hole is not a sucky thing. It doesn't suck anything in. It draws the energy around the horizon. It draws it in around the horizon, which creates the sun. Okay? Yeah. So the hydrogen creates the helium, and the helium's getting fed into there. But at the same time, the merging weaker and stronger electrons are marrying, pairing, and boosting the neutral zone, the nucleus. So, and that's where there's all the energy is, right around the horizon of this black hole. So nothing's actually getting sucked into the hole, okay? It's avoidance. Everything's avoiding that hole. It's like a spiralling water. Nothing's going in the centre. There's nothing happening. It's at rest. All the action's spiralling around it. Up and down, up and down. And this is what's happening with our stars and that, planets, over 24 hours. They go around their circuit, then they sort of go, they're spiralling around, down, and then they spiral back out again for the next night. You don't see them disappear down there because it's going down into the face of the sun and back up again. That's what they do every night. It's like in the south, it'll come from behind me, come around and appear to come from the east, but it's come right around here, but it's daylight. You don't see them way over there. You only see them sort of turn up here because of daytime, and night falls, then it comes around and then goes over your horizon. And then they carry on down around to your west-south and go back around again. And they do a loop because that's the sunny side, sun side. Loop into the vortex and come back out again. So they're going down like this and then back out again. They all do that. It's the cardanoid. Like this. And the sun's in here somewhere. There's the black hole sort of thing. So what you need to imagine is, or realise, is when the sun's moving around the tropics, it moves all around here, 360 degrees over 24 hours, you've got this vortex in front of it, drawing all the electrons in and the atoms, protons, coming in here, drawing into it all the time. So imagine that swirling around like this, and everything's rushing into it. Okay? That's how it works. So, any other guy would probably write all this information down. I just hate writing. Can't spell for shit anyway. Comprehension's really bad. So, anybody with a good mind should be able to figure this out. This cold fusion. It's right there. Talk about studying pure water, vortexing it in a strong magnetic field. And when you read up about the cold fusion they're doing now, it sounds like they're onto it, but they're using heat. There's no heat involved. It's the magnetic field, and what it's doing, the vacuum is doing to the atom, ripping it to bits. And then you've got the strong force and the weak force. This is where they're probably going wrong, because they don't understand that magnetic field, how there's a strong force and a weak force. They're just using electrons. They're not using a weak electron and a strong electron. Or whether they call them positive and weak, negatives, I don't know. But they would create that system if they did created this right model. But they don't have this model. They just have this model here, don't they? The one singular model, like this. It was flying around here and flying around here, being fed into here. Well, that's no good. They have to have this model. They have to have the dual system. It's not a dual system. Well, looking like that, it looks like a dual system, but it's not. This is the dual system with the tropical gap, because the tropical gap feeds back into here. This doesn't feed back into here, so they've got it all backwards. They're not going to get anywhere. Anybody out there with the brain, get in touch with these dudes. Tell them Lindsay's got the model. I haven't got all the details exactly, but any physicist should be able to figure it out. I've just shown it all. People don't realise how big this information is I have, or this last video. I mean, that last video I put out about the Christ up and all this, that's mind-blowing. But no one's picking up on it. I mean, the physicists know all about the atoms and that in the magnetic field. They haven't come to terms that it is all atomic. It's just one big atom all blown up. But they've been lost because they didn't understand this tropical zone. This is the first. This is going to rewrite all the science books. What I know here. So that's all I can give you at this stage, off the top of my head. Something else, you look at this. The magnetic field spiral out like this, like that, like that. That's a really bad drawing, that one. But let's say an old Chinese man turns up from 1,000 years ago and says, "Yeah, we knew all that. We knew all that. That's why we left you that symbol." This symbol here, the yin and yang. What are you, thick or what? And I go, "Well, yeah, I suppose we are." Well, they are. These so-called scientists. There's your magnetic field. That's all you do. yin and yang, yin and yang. It's all there. All the ancients knew about this stuff. I figured it all out. Anyway, you know any physicists or scientists who can add 2 and 2 together, because most of these guys on this site, I think half my subscribers are science wannabes, can't add 2 and 2. You've got to give them a 3D image, like 3D, you know, graphics, pretty pictures, and draw it all for them, get the thing moving for them. Jeez, I thought only women wanted that sort of thing. No offence, ladies. Okay. Sharon, put up your likes, get this out there.